So we are starting 14.3 quotient of powers property. Our learning goals, I can generate equivalent expressions involving quotients of powers. Before we begin, I want you to do the warm-up and then check your answer with mine. So you can see that we have the same base, and since we have the same base, that means that we can use our exponents rule. And so we know that we can add our exponents. So 2 plus 6 is 8, so we have 2/3 to the 8th power. So now we're going to get started on the quotients of powers property. And this means that to divide powers with the same base, we subtract their exponents. So remember that division can also be written as a fraction. And so we're going to take, as long as they have the same base, they have to have the same base, so these are both a base of 4, we can subtract our exponents. So 5 and then minus 2 is 3. The reason we can do this is because it's like having 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 all over 2, well, 4 times 4. And we know that 4 divided by 4 is 1. So these cancel out to be a 1, and these cancel out to be a 1. And so now we're left with 4 times itself 3 times, which is 4 to the 3rd power. So down here we have both a base of 2, and so we have 2 to the 6th minus 4, and so we get 2 squared, because 6 minus 4 is 2. We have the same base again, and so we keep our negative 7. It has to stay in parentheses because it was already in parentheses, and then we're going to do 9 minus 3, and 9 minus 3 is 6, so we have negative 7 to the 6th power. And then again, we have h, so we can even do these with variables. Oops, got ahead of myself. 7 minus 6, because they're both the base of h. And so that gives us h to the 1st power, or just h. So now I want you to try 1, 2, 3, and 4 on your own, and then check your answers with mine. All we're doing is subtracting, so keep our base, so we keep a base of 9, and then 7 minus 4 is 3, so 9 to the 3rd power. 4.2 to the 6 minus 5, which is just 4.2 to the 1st power, which is just 4.2. Because anything to the 1st power just means it's times itself 1 time, so it's just 4.2. Negative 8 to the 8 minus 4, so that's negative 8, and then to the 4th power. And then we have x, and then 8 minus 3 is 5, so x to the 5th power. Alright, so now we're going to simplify an expression. And so now we're going to kind of use everything that we know so far. So I always like to work with like horizontally, and then I work vertically, and you'll kind of see what I mean. So we know that if we're multiplying two numbers with the same base, then we add the exponent. So we have 3 to the 4 plus 2 all over 3 to the 3rd power. So I'm going to simplify that. So 4 plus 2 is 6, so I have 3 to the 6th power all over 3 to the 3rd power. And now we still have the same base, so I can still simplify. So I'm going to subtract these exponents. So now I work vertically, so up and down. But you can work anyway. Either way, you could have worked up and down first. And then, so 6 minus 3 is 3, so I have 3 to the 3rd power. Because 6 minus 3 is 3. So that's where I got that 3rd power. So now I want you to try 5, 6, and 7 on your own, and then you'll check your answers with mine. Alright, so again, I work horizontally first. So I keep my base of 6, and 7 plus 3 is 10, so I have 6 to the 10th over 5, or 6 to the 5th, sorry. And then we subtract, so 10 minus 5 is 5, so I have 6 to the 5th power. Then I'm going to keep my top because I can't simplify the top of my fraction, and I'm going to add my exponents on the bottom. So 3 plus 5 is 8, so I have 2 to the power of 8. And then 15 minus 8 is 7, so I have 2 to the 7th power. I'm going to simplify my numerator, so 8 plus 6 is 14, and then I'm going to do 14 minus 5, which is 9, so I get n to the 9th power. Alright, so now we're going to keep simplifying. This time we're going to try simplifying vertically. And so first what I'm going to do is subtract my exponents. So I keep my base of -4 in my parentheses, and then 9 minus 5 is 4. So I have -4 to the 4th power times, I'm going to keep my -4, and then 8 minus 2 equals 6, so the 6th power. And then now I can add my exponents, so I have -4, and then 6 plus, or sorry, 6 plus, I wrote my answer, 4 plus 6, which equals -4 to the 10th power. So we'll do another example just with variables this time. So I'm going to focus on my exponents. 10 minus 6 equals 4. So I have a to the 4th power times a to the 7 minus 4, which is 3, so to the 3rd power, and then I'm going to add them, so a to the 4 plus 3, which is a to the 7th. So I want you to give 8, 9, and 10 a try, and then you're going to check your answers with mine. Number 8, 7 minus 5 is 2, so I have -5 squared times 6 minus 2 is 4. So I have -5 squared, -5 to the 4th, and I add those. 2 plus 4 is 6, so I have -5 to the 6th power. For number 9, whenever there's not an exponent, remember that it's a 1, and so 5 minus 1 is 4, and then 9 minus 8 is 1, so I have d to the 4th times d to the 1st, which equals d to the 4 plus 1, and that equals d to the 5th power. For number 10, it was a little trickier because you had to simplify first before being able to subtract. So we had 3 plus 6, that's a 6, which is 9. And then so we have p to the 9th over p squared. And so 9 minus 2 is 7. So we have 9 to the 7th power. And then p, I don't know why I have a 9 there. That's not a 9. I'm so sorry. This should be p's. And then p to the 3rd. Whoa. So 4 minus 1 is 3. So I have 9 minus 2 is 7. 4 minus 1 is 3. Add these exponents, and we get p to the 10th. The projected population of Tennessee in 2030 is about 5 times 5.9 to the 8th. Predict the average number of people per mile in Tennessee in 2030. So we're going to take, the people per square mile, which is what we're trying to find, we don't know this yet, is equal to the population in 2030 over the land area. And you'll notice the land area is located in the image. So we have the projected population, which is going to go on top. So that's an arrow. Whoa. So we have 5 times 5.9 to the 8th over, and then our land area, which is 5.9 to the 6th. And then you'll notice that this 5 right here is not the same base as the other two, so I'm just going to leave it. So 5 times, and then these two are the same base, and so we can subtract. So 5.9 to the 8 minus 6, and so we have 5 times 5.9 squared. And so now we can square this number to simplify because we actually want to know what it will be. So 5.9 times 5.9 gives us 34.81. So we have 34.81 times 5. And we get 174.05. which means that in 2030, there's going to be about, remember the symbol means about, 174 people per square mile. Alright, so now I'm going to have you click over and you're going to watch 14.4. It's pretty quick. And then after that, you'll do big ideas. But make sure that you watch 14.4 and complete the notes on ClassKick before doing so.